think we're just about ready to start. Yeah, it's 4:30. I have waited 3 years to say this. What's up, Zenkaikon? Feels good to say that. Thanks so much for coming to ARGs, Puzzletrails, and UnFiction. My name's Noah Houlihan. I'm from +2 Comedy. You might also know me from cosplay pro wrestling, but we're not here to talk about that. It's a pleasure. But recently, I became a Let's Player of ARGs, Puzzletrails, and UnFiction. So if you check me out on +2 Comedy on Twitch and +2 Comedy Gaming on YouTube, I spend a lot of time on these really cool things. A thing that a lot of people don't understand and find very confusing. So I'm hoping that by the end of this, you'll have somewhat of an idea what the heck I'm talking about. Just show of hands, who knows what these things are? Some of them? All right, cool, cool. So I just want to start by clearing some things up, okay? What is an ARG? An ARG is an alternate reality game. The idea of an ARG is what you are playing is real. It's just not happening in our reality. It happens in an alternate reality. So the thing about an ARG that's special is it's telling a bigger story, but you as the viewer, you as the audience, you as the player, can have direct impact on what happens in that story. That's what kind of separates ARGs from everything else, is you are an audience member, but an active participant in the story that's being told. So kind of think of it kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, all right? So the main person telling the story in Dungeons and Dragons is the Dungeon Master. But if all the players just stared at the Dungeon Master and didn't say anything, it's going to be a rough 2 hours. It requires the participation of the audience to kind of flesh out the world. So that's the big difference. What is a puzzle trail? A puzzle trail is a series of puzzles, and solving one puzzle usually leads you to another puzzle. Usually, the way that these are done online is you reach a web page, and you have to get to the next web page by any means necessary, telling you very little information, trying to glean things from pictures and codes. There's often not a story. There's a few that have a loose story, but your actions in the game are not affecting the story. Just solving puzzles gives you more story. So kind of like point and click adventure, where you got to rub the right 2 items together to make more story. Kind of think of it like an escape room. Like you work really, really hard to figure out what's in that locked box. And then you open that locked box, and in it is another box. All right, let's figure out what's in here now. What is UnFiction? So fiction, we know what fiction is. Fiction is when you describe the events of imaginary people and imaginary events. Nonfiction describes real people and real events. UnFiction describes imaginary events and imaginary people as if they were real events. So it's trying to remove that layer of fiction. You're taking fiction and you're undoing it. You're UnFiction. It's not affected by the audience the way an ARG is. That's kind of the big separation. Kind of think of it like found footage, like your Blair Witch Project, where people believe the Blair Witch Project was real. Or pro wrestling. Like pro wrestling presents itself as real. And when you go in there and you clap your hands and you're cheering and you bring that wrestler back to life, you didn't really bring that wrestler back to life. Whoever was going to win was going to win. They did not enter the ring going, I'm going to win unless they clap a lot. Then you're going to win. So that's the big separation. Now, why is it important that we know the difference? It's not important. It's really not important that we know the difference. This is just something that I wanted to clear up for 2 reasons. One, we're going to be talking about these things in this panel. And I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So when we discuss things, it's a little bit clearer. And 2, because there's tons of people who use these words wrong. And the worst offender, the person who uses these words wrong more than any other person, is Matt Pat. Matt Pat doesn't know what any of these words mean. Matt Pat was like, hey, I did this thing where if you buy the merch, there's like a puzzle that you can find on the bags and you have to work together. It's an ARG. Not really, Matt Pat. That's just a bag. I mean, I understand we have to work with other people, but it's not an alternate reality game. He's like, hey, I made this theorist gateway. It's an ARG. No, it's not, Matt Pat. That's a puzzle trail. I know a puzzle trail when I see one. And then Matt Pat came out and was like, hey, this jacket's an ARG. And I was like, no, Matt Pat, that's a jacket. I immediately bought that jacket. Very excited to get that jacket. But it is not an ARG. So we're going to break this down. So I just want to kind of get a feel for the room. Based on what you just heard, who's more interested in ARGs? Okay. Who's more interested in Puzzletrails? All right. And who's more interested in just UnFiction? Okay, cool. Yeah. So this is an example of how this is not an ARG, because you have no effect on what I'm going to do. That did not change my PowerPoint at all. But in all seriousness, I want to make sure I focus on the things that you guys are interested in. So who's interested in learning about ARGs from an audience point of view? They want to watch more ARGs and enjoy that. All right, a good chunk of you. And who wants to create them? Only a few. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I'm making everybody happy. And who still doesn't know what the heck I'm talking about? Come. Awesome. Doing a terrible job. All right. So let's talk about ARGs. ARGs I find to be very fascinating. In the beginning, they were basically just commercials. The main idea of an ARG was to get you to end up buying something. The first ARG that a lot of people know about, I wouldn't say it's definitively the first ARG, but it's often referred to as the first ARG, is The Beast, which was an ARG to promote the film AI. Who remembers the film AI? That is way more than I was expecting. I hate that movie, it's terrible. But it gave us ARGs, and that's what's important. For example, I Love Bees. I Love Bees was an ARG created to promote Halo 2. It all started with a trailer that went out that secretly snuck in the email address I Love Bees, and it took you to a beekeeping website that had been hacked. I'm going to talk about I Love Bees a little bit more in a second. Why So Serious was for The Dark Knight. This is a very famous ARG. It started online, but what everyone remembers about this ARG is one San Diego Comic-Con. They gave out dollar bills with the Joker's face on it that said, "Why So Serious?" And it gave a location. Everybody went to that location, and the skywriter wrote a phone number in the sky. And if you called that number, it told you to contact a friend who had access to the internet. Because not everybody had smartphones. And you had to work as a team to solve basically the Joker's riddles. This meant that there were roughly 1,000 people in San Diego who ended up dressing like the Joker and stealing cookies from Girl Scouts. That stage of that ARG ended with someone being kidnapped by the Joker and murdered, according to the story. Basically, the Joker kidnapped one of the participants and framed him to be the Joker, and then killed him so that Gotham would stop looking for him. He's alive and well and got that really cool experience. But also, the other side of that, with the people at home, actually unlocked the first teaser trailer for The Dark Knight. Last Call Poker promoted a video game called Gun. Anybody know the game Gun? You guys are really cool. I was really expecting you you did not know any of the things you're talking about. Last Call Poker was an actual poker game. They would go online and you would play online poker. And if you were lucky enough, one of the characters from the ARG would play poker with you and chat with you and say little interesting things. Now, I played this one, and when I signed up for this poker website, they asked for my phone number, which I did not think much of. And then later, I got a voicemail, and it was a man being murdered. I just picked up my phone. I was like, oh, cool, voicemail. And it was someone getting shot in the head. And then it said, here's your next card, Last Call Poker. I was like, oh, okay, I signed up for nightmares. Last Call Poker, the finale of that was you would play graveyard poker, which involved using tombstones as if they were playing cards. And you would use the last digit in the year someone died as your card. And the plan was they would point at 5 cards and they're like, all right, that's the flop, the river, and the turn. And then you had to try to touch 2 tombstones to make the best poker hand. Someone won parts of a gun by doing this. The problem with these early ARGs is there's not a lot of footage. Basically, in the early days of ARG, YouTube wasn't big or even around. So it wasn't a visual medium. It was more of an experience than something you sat back and watched. So this is the best I could find. This is a video about I Love Bees that was put together by 42 Entertainment, who made I Love Bees. And I think the people from Attack of the Show.
It all started in mid-July when a mysterious package was sent out, a jar of honey containing 9 letters that, when arranged properly, spelled out I Love Bees. But on July 16th, the day when a theatrical trailer for the upcoming Halo 2 was launched nationwide, the pieces fell into place. At the end of the trailer, a quick flash of ilovebees.com sent Xbox fans sprinting for their PCs. At first glance, the website appeared to be nothing more than an amateur beekeeper's website that had been hacked. But a closer look only resulted in more confusion. What exactly was going to happen when the counter reached 0? It's early in the morning on August 24th. ilovebees.com is just updated with a list of over 200 sites. They gave GPS, longitude, and latitude, and now it's up to us to get to one of these sites to answer what is apparently going to be a payphone, give it a code word and a nickname, and all of a sudden that will unlock an axon. Once all these axons are activated online, it unlocks a hidden message. So far it's been WAV files with gibberish or background story, we think, for Halo 2.
Yeah, I've got the passport. It's coming.
What's your name? This is Onitech Alex with Berkeley Crew. Lieutenant Watson, Lieutenant Jonathan Mann, Lieutenant Trevor Jason.
Soldier, what kind of special skills do you offer my crew?
I play guitar.
Where is your guitar?
In the trunk of my car.
Put the phone down and go get your guitar.
At a San Francisco convention commemorating the end of the game, attendees got to play Halo 2 several days before it hit stores and meet the creators of I Love Bees. But the main attraction for many were the so-called beekeepers themselves.
It's just been a Halo 2 preview or even playing like they're doing right now. A lot of people wouldn't come. It's the community first and last. That's the whole benefit of this kind of game, is that it pulls people together rather than separating them out.
So that's just in brief what an ARG experience usually looks like, or at least did back in the day before there was like YouTube videos to follow as well, where it was basically a community of people working really hard to solve something that this company had put out to promote a video game and to save bees. So the issue with this type of marketing is it can go wrong. The Why So Serious ARG for The Dark Knight went very wrong. They released online, this is after the San Diego Comic-Con part, upsetting the Girl Scouts was all part of it, that was all good. That was all good things that happened. For this one, they put out a bunch of locations that were revealed to be bowling alleys. And if you went to the bowling alley, you could receive this special message, that card, a bowling ball, and you see like a phone. people started to realize, because they weren't all dropped at once, that you could just go to a bowling alley and hope it's the right one. So tons of fans ran to bowling alleys across the United States, showed up, and demanded to talk to the Joker. It didn't go well for a lot of people. One of the employees of the bowling alley that actually had one of these packages stole the package and held it hostage, saying that he would destroy it unless he received $50,000. Some people kind of thought it was part of the game and offered to pay it. It was a lot of problems. So this type of act is called the dead drop. That's when there is a clue that takes place in a real life location. They are super cool and super risky, because it only takes one idiot to ruin everything. And idiots love to ruin stuff. Now these are the ones that were created by companies. Eventually, there had to be a homegrown, one that a fan made on his own without the backing. And the first one that really caught fire was Ben Drowned. This is also known as the Haunted Majora's Mask. It tells the story of an evil N64 cartridge that our main character found at a yard sale. And this started as a blog. It was just explaining, yeah, I'm playing this game. It's really weird. It seems really glitchy. There's some things wrong with it. And everyone was like, oh, this is just a creepypasta. This is just someone trying to have fun. And then videos started to appear. Here's a video from Ben Drowned. So basically everyone knows Majora's Mask, or at least is familiar with it. Seeing a game just act the way it shouldn't, absolutely terrifying. So all these videos came out of him playing this game, and basically the game trying to communicate with him that Ben had drowned. It does kind of seem more like UnFiction. There's not a lot of interaction, but there was actually a lot of interaction towards the end of the game. The end of the game, they were saying, you received a message basically saying, download this video to see the conclusion. And basically it was Ben using you downloading it to escape into the internet. Had you kind of been paying attention, you may have realized that you shouldn't download it, and that would save humanity. Unfortunately, we downloaded it, and that is how chapter 1 of Ben Drowned ended. Did you guys know about Ben Drowned? Did you know that there's a second chapter to Ben Drowned? Here's a video.
Я обзлагаю фильм. Начать с рабосуки. Да мимится, настроение.
So it doesn't seem right? Like, you saw the quality of the first video, where it was a gameplay footage, and then this had like weird still images and stuff. To this day, it's debated if this is chapter 2 of Ben Drowned or not. That brings me to game jacking. Well, I ruined my own punchline by not setting up my things right, but Game jacking is when a player decides that they're going to pretend like they're the ones in charge of this. Now, there's been debate whether or not this Chapter 2 was something that the creator, Alexander Hall, actually had a hand in, or if it was something that someone else stole from him, or if it was something he had a hand in and then didn't like and then pretended like it wasn't there. This is something we still don't really know. Right, I just said that. The real creator said that it would continue in 2016, and I was like, let me try to reach out to him. And I tried to reach out to him, and he's just super into crypto. So I don't think we're going to get any more Ben Drowned. So this also brings me to the idea of evaporating ARGs. When more people got into the space and went, oh, I'm going to make an ARG, we saw this huge uptick in ARGs starting and then just floating away and nothing happened. So if this is something that you're interested in making, see that as a reality. It is so hard to do this. Understand that life will get in the way and have a contingency for what to do in the event that you can't make your next upload. Because the problem with UnFiction and ARGs, you have to present yourself like this is reality. So it's kind of hard for you to be like, I'm kidnapped. Someone please help me. Here's a puzzle to solve, please. And then follow that up with, hey, I got really busy at school. So I'm not going to be able to be kidnapped for like 2 more weeks. But we'll get back together on this. One that I would like to bring up right now. What the heck happened to Camdrome? Camdrome was an ARG, maybe? It's hard to say. Camdrome showed up at PAX. And it was this bloody PC with a webcam that nobody knows who put it there. Nobody manned this booth. You can sit down and you can kind of play with some stuff. And then at the end of PAX, nobody picked it up. It sat on the floor, unclaimed, as all the other booths around it packed up and left. Now there is a Twitter account for Camdrome that used to talk to people. According to the story of Camdrome, it got hacked, and somebody else started leaving messages and deleted all the old messages of Camdrome. And then he said, I have to go. And we haven't heard from Camdrome since. I'm going to say this right now. In the past, when Camdrome has not worked, people just started bothering Camdrome, and it woke up. So I would like to implore all of you right now to tweet at Camdrome and just tell it to wake up. Maybe something will happen, maybe not. But I want more of this. This is really cool. PB is here. So this is one of the more recent ARGs that was user created. And it's about helping a man escape a strange facility. Here's a quick video.
Hello, this is David Ever. I'm me being trapped in the swoop. I don't know what I'm doing here, don't know why I'm here. This is what my room looks like if you're interested. Anyways, I've been here for a while and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, so I don't know. Can you leave a comment or something? Maybe I can read it. See what's up? Thank you. Yeah, how do I turn? Whoa. I got my first comment from XL4MeDino. It says, hello, and it's like a happy face. Yeah. Well, hi. You don't happen to know what's going on, do you? Well, someone's out there, so that's good to hear.
So this was an animated ARG that not instantly, but very quickly responded with video to a comment. This immediately sent the message of, if you speak to me, I will speak back to you. What eventually ended up happening, because you saw very quickly in that video that there was a locked door with a keypad. PB needed our guidance to get him out of his cell. And he wasn't really good on experimenting on his own. He only really did what he was instructed to do. So the players of this game first tried to go with brute force, had him smash some things against the door. But then, through some clever puzzle solving, was able to get him out of the cell. And the game continued when he found a dead body. Unfortunately, this game has ended. But if you go on YouTube, you can watch this whole thing. And one of the main reasons that this game did so well is it was on TikTok. The videos were very short, and TikTok just has a nicer algorithm to new accounts. So if this is a medium that you're considering playing with, consider TikTok. One, you only have to make a short video rather than a half-hour video. And two, because it shares easier. The Gambler. This is a lesser-known one. The Gambler was a rogue AI based on Elvis Presley, who wanted to nuke the world on Valentine's Day. I want to bring this up because I played this ARG live on Twitch. Basically, I grabbed some people online, we all went into this subreddit where the Gambler would be talking to us, and we tried to figure out what we could do to save the world. You will notice that the world still exists, so you're welcome. But there's a special moment that I think really captures the magic of ARGs. So this is from my live stream.
I'm working on it now, as a matter of fact. I've been sharing your memos with them. What the hell? That's a breach of privacy. Yeah, what gives? You'll recall that you waived your individual freedoms upon learning of the defense covenant. Ellipses. Good. Now it's time to observe. We have a good amount of internet users playing along. One is even streaming this. Hello to you, Noah.
I have a terrible laugh.
Hope your Twitching journey's going well. Well, thanks, Pierce.
So basically, we found this this transcript. Someone else found this transcript and was nice enough to put it on Reddit so I could easily find it. But it called me out by name. Like, that's the level of interaction that you can have with these games if you put enough work in and you got a cool person pulling the strings behind it. So ARGs are very personal. They happen in real time. There's no pausing. And your decisions matter. We came very close to accidentally destroying the world. It basically came down to how are we going to treat the Gambler. And a lot of people wanted to gaslight him. And I was like, I think that's a bad idea. So I offered him a hug and saved the world. So again, yeah. So right now you might be thinking, hey, these ARGs sound pretty cool. How can I play? Well, here's the thing. You can't. The problem with ARGs, like I just said, is you can't pause them. They're not just readily available. They kind of just happen in time. So I can't point you to one right now that is active and promise that you'll have a great experience with it. Because everyone that's like active right now could end tomorrow. And it's tough because there's been many ARGs that have been great that I found at the last second and missed all the fun stuff along the way. So a few things that you can do. The Nightmind Indexed. The Nightmind Index is full of ARGs and also UnFiction that you can find. It just lists and it updates pretty regularly with various user-made projects. They're all worth checking out. There's some very strange stuff on there that I highly recommend. You just scroll through. It's split up by categories. So if you're not into horror, there's some good comedy stuff in there, good mysteries, good puzzles. It's a great spot. Our ARG on Reddit has a bunch. There's a lot of people just posting a picture like, I think I found this, it's scary. There's a lot of dead ends on this one, but this is the best way to get in, like, fresh the moment it starts. ARGnet, or ARGN.com, also a great resource. Also, this just happened. There is a fantastic ARG that ended chapter 1 called Phobos. Phobos was the story of this man named Jonathan who was trying to rid the world of fear by physically extracting fear from your head. There has been a new trailer for season 2, which is coming soon, that literally just dropped that I added to the presentation very late. So check out what's going on with Phobos season 2.
Here comes the boogeyman. Here comes the boogeyman. Here comes the boogeyman. Run fast as you can. It's the boogeyman. I passed by the graveyard last night now. 3 bodies lay side by side. 2 bodies just seem to lay there, but this other body started to rise. You better get back, get back, don't move another brother, and please don't wake your brother. You get up at night, making weird sounds. Soon you're gonna make this a real ghost town. Well, listen here, my friend, I'll never go that way again. If you hear me a sound, you better look all around. Here comes the boogeyman. Hello, Speedo.
So this is created by one guy.
I know you're there. I can see you. Watching, listening. I do hope you're enjoying Zenkaikon. Nice weather we're having, don't you agree? Ah, Pennsylvania. Home of the magical groundhog, so I'm told. And shoe fly pie, whatever that means. But enough small talk. A less benevolent being might use this opportunity to spread propaganda and paranoia. Not me. I have your best interests at heart. I simply intend to warn you. There are things in the universe which exceed your comprehension. Vast machinations of interdimensional ruling, a cosmic system of justice which exerts extreme authority over the fate of humanity. I don't have much time. Pay attention. I need to tell you about this. See you real soon.
So I guess Jonathan's expecting you to watch. Give it up for Jonathan real quick. So yes, I want to give you guys that moment of being called out by an ARG. So this was made specifically for Zenkaikon. Just giving you guys a second if anybody wants to scan that. I saw a couple phones go out, and it'd be real mean of me to just kind of take this off the screen.
Your chance.
Yeah. It's over! No. So yeah, I'm going to move on from ARGs, but does anyone have any quick questions while people are taking pictures and stuff? I assume you're actually scanning, not just taking a picture. There's also a good chance it's being stretched by the projector. It might not work correctly. My apologies if you can't get it to work. Yeah, you can also find it on Time Industries.
How was Phobos season 1?
Phobos season 1 was great. It was a musical, which I was not expecting. There's a lot of great music from City of Angels, if you're familiar with that musical. But yeah, it was absolutely one of my favorite experiences I've had online. You may have noticed some hidden messages that popped up. So we couldn't just use a machine to decode it, which was infuriating, brilliant. I also have been told by the creator that there is mysteries in season 1, all that, the beautiful footage is there, and there's apparently still stuff to be found. Check that out. Now, if you're not big into the stories, but you're more into the puzzles, let's talk about Puzzletrails. Basically, you're going to be presented with a web page, and you're going to use the information on the web page alone. Possibly also have to use Google to solve it. You might have to decrypt codes, you might have to investigate audio, edit images, just anything you can to brute force your way to find out how to get to that next web page. You might have to click on something, you might have to change the address, you might have to put in a password or code. It's a bit hard to explain. So we're going to do one together. All right, so this one comes from the Not Prawn room. All right. So we're presented with this image called Element 34, because it is level 34. What do you guys see?
Shell symbol, 82.
All right, so basically, I was just worried that you couldn't see it. So you got the shell symbol, and you got negative 82. So what could that shell symbol represent? Here.
Gas.
Gas. All right, that makes sense. It's the gas station. All right, what do you think that negative 82 could be? Octane? Why octane?
Shell symbol.
Okay, that makes sense. But there's another piece of information we haven't used yet, which is the title of the image.
What's the 34th element of the periodic table?
Not 34 might not be the one you want to look for.
Element 82.
What's element 82?
Oh, it's lead.
Lead. So,
Yeah, like gas.
unleaded gas. You guys just solved your first level of the puzzle trail. Congratulations. You would put in that password, and that would get you to the next level. So once again, this comes from the Not Prawn puzzle. It is, let's talk about codes first. So there's some codes that you should just know if you're going to try to dive into some of these. This is the word code in all of these. There's binary, which is 1s and 0s. If things are in a set of 8, that should set off your alarm that this might be binary. There's, of course, Morse code, which is dashes and dots. Anytime you hear audio and there's some noises in it, pay attention to that. Braille, which is usually for the blind and very textual, but anytime you see dots, you should worry about Braille. Hexadecimal. Hexadecimal is base 16. If you see sets of numbers and letters in 2s, probably hexadecimal. An A1Z26 cipher is just turning the letters into numbers or vice versa. So the first letter C, which is the third letter. Second letter is O, which is the 15th letter. A shift or Caesar or Rot cipher, which is simply just moving one letter over or multiple letters over. This was just Here's a problem is they like to hide code. So here we have Samus. Based on how that looks, can anyone figure out what code that is?
Morse.
People think it's Morse? But sets of 8.
Oh.
Da! In case you're wondering, this says hi. Just hi. So the Not Prawn riddle is the riddle that is from. It was inspired by a riddle called This Is Not Porn. I apologize for the title of that. But This Is Not Porn is one of the very earliest puzzle trails. It's still up, but it doesn't work great, so I don't recommend it. And then the creator of the Not Prawn riddle had found This Is Not Porn, was like, I can do this, but better. And thus they created the Not Prawn riddle. So it was created by David M. in 2004, okay? After 100 people solved it, the final level of the Not Prawn riddle was removed. This way, there are only 100 true solvers of the Not Prawn riddle. Now, I've heard legend of this level. Some have said that it involved going to a real-life place. Some said it involved being logged in at a certain time on a certain day of the year. But it has been solved by 100 people, and it happened on October 29th, 2020.
Wow.
I find the Not Prawn riddle to be something very special. The Not Prawn riddle has many levels. I won't give away how many because that's kind of part of the fun. And there are very few answers to things that you can't just Google. There are very few people that know what the end of the Not Prawn riddle looks like. And they're not saying. So it's a very special thing to go through something that they actively don't want you to know. And you have to work for it. Now, I have a confession. I decided I was going to solve the Not Prawn riddle on Twitch. So I Twitch streamed it. And it was very strange. The Twitch stream, I noticed, did decent. I got a lot of hits on YouTube, but not a lot of interaction. And then one day, I got a message that simply said, "We need to talk to you." I was like, okay. And I was sent a Discord link. And I clicked in, and somebody said, "Hey, Noah's here." And then like 4 people went, "Wait, he's really here?" There had been a group of people that have been watching me play the Not Prawn riddle and not interacting with me, just kind of quietly observing until I got a point where they were like, "Hey, that's too much to share." Those people are the fine people at Ignomatics, a secret underground puzzle maker group that you all can join if you want. It's really not that hard to join. But they are the keepers of the Not Prawn riddle. They watched my streams. They waited till I got to a certain point in the puzzle. They told me, "Please stop streaming this publicly." And then they went back and they changed all the answers. Right?
It's an ARG!
Isn't it crazy? But these are fantastic people. They're very welcoming. Like, as much as I'd love to say, like, I went outside and a pillowcase went over my head and I was thrown into a bed. It was really like, hey, you know what would be really cool if you didn't spoil the rest of this. So I haven't been. They're streaming exclusively on Patreon now. But the Ignomatics people, they make fantastic puzzles, kind of to keep the fire of the Not Prawn riddle going. And you can check out their weekly puzzles at weeklies.ignomatics.org. Basically, they're much shorter versions. They're basically 1 or 2 levels of a Not Prawn riddle that you have a week to solve. And if you solve it, you get to be immortalized on the scoreboard. They're currently off-season, so they're not making any new weeklies, but the weeklies are still there if you want to go give it a try. It's pretty cool because if you find it too intimidating, you can just stop it. And if you find it really easy, you finish it and feel real good. If you want something that is currently out, one of the Ignomatics creators, Weaver, who I call it Tricks and Links, created something called the Tribe, which is available right now, and I believe at time of this panel has yet to be solved, because it's newer. So if you want to check that out, it is weaver.ignomatics.org, and that is the first picture from that puzzle that I have yet to solve.
Spelling your
Do I?
E-N-I-G or E-N-G-I?
E-N-G-I.
Alright.
Yes, I spelled it wrong in the website, which was the important part. I'm sorry. Perhaps.
Panels and ARGs.
Let me tell you how badly I wanted to do that originally.
Next year.
Next year, maybe next year. Do not believe his lies. This is another very interesting one. This was a puzzle trail that was a cell phone app. This was something that I remember downloading, and I thought it was hard, so I stopped playing. And then on Reddit, there were all these people who were like, guys, we are at the end of do not believe his lies, and we cannot solve it. We need more people. And people just flocked and flocked and flocked to this app. In the end, it had over 250,000 players, and 8 people solved it. And then they removed it from the App Store. So only 8 people will ever have solved this. That being said, Ender, who's another puzzle creator, has recreated all of it on their own website, Do Not Believe Her Lies. Also, there's an completely original puzzle trail that you can try to solve called Do Not Believe Her Lies, that at time of this panel, 19 people have solved since 2019. I think we can do it. What do you think, guys? How much time's left in the panel? You think we can knock it out? If you want something a little easier, there's Matt Pat's Theorist Game. It's a puzzle trail. It is not an ARG. Seriously. But I could not recommend this more. It is a fantastic puzzle trail. It's got built-in hints. You can also watch a walkthrough of it on his channel. I'm a big Matt Pat fan, even though he doesn't know what ARG means. I highly recommend it. It's something that I've completed on Twitch. It's super fun, and if you're looking to just try to get into puzzle trails, this is probably your best starter ARG, is Matt Pat's Theorist Gateway. Black Watchman. This cracks me up. This is a Steam game, so there's a walkthrough. So again, if you're looking for something that less intimidating and you won't get stuck doing because you can find help, I recommend the Black Watchman. It's basically you're a secret government agent that has been put in charge of pretty menial stuff in terms of the shadow government, and then you work your way up. It does have a nice story. It is not important really to pay attention to, but it is there. But the trailer for this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen, in my opinion.
Agents, get ready. A new mission starts now.
Badass they make using Google. Oh, he's on Wikipedia. Oh, just you put intense music over anything, and it's incredible. Despite the fact that it is a game that you'll have to download, it is a lot of using Google, using Google Maps, and just trying to solve puzzles. And for a wide release for a game that is for sale on Steam, it's brutally difficult. It's really hard, and it's a mix of the easiest level in the world followed by something that will take you 2 weeks. So if you want to try something with light story, if you're looking for more of a story along with your puzzles, I highly recommend the Black Watchman. This used to be an ARG. There used to be a live aspect to it. In, I think it was 2016, you fought Russia. which is a little touchy now, but it was another game that when I signed up, it was like, give us your phone number. I was like, ooh, I've fallen down this well before. Here's my phone number. Unfortunately, by the time I started playing, they were not doing phone calls anymore. But if you're looking for puzzles, Black Watchman's great. But if you really want the challenge, the Herculean effort, the Not Prom Riddle is where it's at. UnFiction. We do not have that much time left, so I'm going to talk really, really fast. So basically, UnFiction comes from UnFiction.com, who created the UnFiction forums, or the UnForums, which used to be the starting ground for a lot of UnFiction and ARG projects. They're often cryptic, but they don't require code breaking. The first one of these is Lonely Girl 15. This one went live, I believe, 5 months after YouTube went live. So this was before anyone really knew what YouTube was, and it certainly was before YouTube is what it is today. And it was just a blogger who ended up getting kidnapped by a cult. And because it was new and YouTube was new, everyone thought this girl got kidnapped by a cult and filmed it herself and kept the camera rolling and kept uploading videos. The young internet was a stupid place.
It's not fair.
It's pretty dumb now, that's true. Marble Hornets is another one of the big ones. This is not what created the Slender Man, but Slender Man is often credited to Marble Hornets because they're the first ones to really capitalize on the monster of the Slender Man. It is multiple really well-constructed seasons. If you wanted to sit back and enjoy a bit of UnFiction, a bit of horror on the YouTubes, Marble Hornets is great. Do not watch Always Watching, the terrible film that was spun off of this. I believe the full title is Always Watching a Marble Hornet Story. And the only reason it's a Marble Hornet story is there is a photograph of one of the characters from Marble Hornets in one scene. Now you may be thinking, wait, is this an ARG? What about To the Ark? To the Ark was like the sister channel to Marble Hornets. It looked like this. Okay, so clearly that meant something, and that's something to be solved. What separates this from an ARG is you don't have to solve it. If you want to just ignore that and watch the next episode of Marble Hornets, you can, and the story will continue, whether or not you solved it or not. So that's the main difference. The thing about UnFiction is you can enjoy it more passively. I won't leave time for questions, so I'm going to try and go through this bit quickly. Petcop is another haunted video game. There's much debate on the meaning. Whatever. I think Petcop is like 17 videos that was released over like 3 years. Many YouTubers gave up on the series because it took so long for videos to come out. There was a lot of like analyzing YouTube channels that towards the end of Petcop ended their review with, and I'm not covering the rest of this because I don't want to and I'm tired of waiting. The creator of Petcop then came out and said that they were waiting for enough funny posts on a subreddit for them to post things, and that after a certain episode, everybody got unfunny. That's a weird way to blame us for you not posting stuff. But if you're thinking about being a creator of these things, work on your schedule. Local 58, it's analog horror. I really want to show the video, so I'm going to get to it. Love Local 58. One of or the video that I thought. I love Local 58. Basically, analog horror is like the new hotness. Remember when everybody loved zombies? Now everybody loves analog horror. Because VCRs are weird and scary. You can't believe people actually watch these. So that's like the new trend. Everyone's kind of chasing the trend. There's just something a little bit spooky about outdated technology. Because it's not being used, yet it still just kind of exists. Like, I know a lot of us have, if you went into your basement, there's probably a big thing of VHSs that have something on it. But I don't have a VCR to play it, but we're not going to get rid of it because maybe it's important. Having that kind of lost feeling, that mysterious feeling of the unknown that comes with old technology, it's real hot right now. So if you're considering making a project with analog horror, know that it's a trend. It's good to jump on it now, but everyone's about to get real sick of it. Like, we were right. Remember when we all hated zombies? That's coming for analog horror. So just some other quick ones that I want to recommend because I'm running out of time. Hi, I'm Mary. Mary is fantastic. It's about a girl who's locked alone in a home with a weird masked mirror woman. Daisy Brown is about a woman taking care of her pet monster. Great puppetry in that. I Am Sophie was surprisingly bigger budget than anyone realized when they started watching it. It's basically about the horrors of trying to be an influencer. Unfortunately, I Am Sophie did not have the ending that the creator wanted. The creator started out with a really big idea and then wanted to go even bigger and then realized it was impossible and was like, we're just going to cut it off here. Still worth watching. Sleepwalk Diaries. Nobody watches the Sleepwalk Diaries but me, but it's really good. It's about a man who sleepwalks while wearing a GoPro. Where is he going to go? He doesn't even know. He's asleep. There is something so terrifying about knowing that you're watching from the point of view of a man who's asleep, wandering into traffic. It makes that knot in my stomach. I love that one. So tips for watching. I'm going to run through this real quickly and then we're going to do questions. Always be ready to pause when watching UnFiction. There might be stuff hiding. Again, with UnFiction, you can always skip the stuff that's hidden, but if you want the full experience, you go look. That's the wonderful thing about UnFiction. If the puzzle's hard, you don't have to do it. Using the period and comma keys always moves you in one frame. That's good for stuff. Watch with subtitles. You always hide stuff in the subtitles. Check the description. Videos may need to be brightened or darkened, sped up or slowed down. Those controls exist on YouTube. A lot of people don't use them, but they're there. So be aware of them. If you are going to launch an ARG, an UnFiction, or a Puzzletrail, try to launch creatively, but launch carefully. There was a story, and I could not find it, but I remember reading it. It was about a guy who made an UnFiction about raising these creepy children. And he created this sound that like lures these children creatures to his porch. And instead of launching it in like an ARG community, he launched it in a supernatural community. So everyone believed it to the point that he had a rival that believed that he could summon these creatures better than him. Which is weird when it's fictional. So launch creatively but safely. Be careful with your identity. There have been many stories about ARGs where it's like, yeah, I wasn't real safe with one of the accounts and they found my real address and they thought it was part of the game, so they were knocking on my door. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. You don't want that. And then it's really hard to be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Because then they're just like, oh, they've gotten you. I need to save you. Complete as much as possible ahead of time. Always plan ahead. if you're going to have codes, this is the big moment that if there's only one thing that you take away from this and you're going to create an ARG, it's this. If you're going to put puzzles and codes in your game, justify them. There is nothing worse than getting an email that's like, it's so important that you get this information. And then you open it and it's in a code. It's like, if this information is so important, why would you make it so hard for me to read? What's the point of that? If you're going to use codes, make a logical reason why something needs to be encoded. Phobos did a great job of this in that there are hidden messages in the videos. And the point is, Jonathan doesn't know they're there. And when Jonathan does figure out that they're there, he can't read them right away. So make sure that you're putting logic into your puzzles. Plan a release schedule, don't be task confident. And plan for life to get in the way. I already talked about that. All right, questions. Who has any questions about ARGs? I know I talked very, very quickly, but I want to get to questions. Yes, right there in front.
One, because I gotta go quick.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Dad?
With Dad, I love Dad. I considered putting Dad in this, but it would take up the entire panel. Dad is great.
Dad is great. And
yes.
What is your favorite one?
Dad is up there. I really like Dad.
Well, I always love my dad.
Yeah, I love my dad. But Keith Apicary is a genius, and everything he does is magical. Phobos is my current favorite because they sent the Zenkaikon thing to us.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
I was shocked.
But I'm more like, I will sit down and do puzzles all day, so not prompts my favorite.
All right.
Not prompts.
And what is your Twitch, by the way?
My Twitch is +2. Boom! +2 comedy on Twitch, +2 comedy on YouTube, also +2 comedy gaming on YouTube. Check out the Nightmon Index and Enigmatics community and Phobos Season 2. I know we are super low on time, so I'm trying to get these questions. Yes?
Two questions.
Shoot.
One, would you consider Doki Literature Club and UnFiction, and to a similar extent, do you think there's an upper tier for the level of puzzle against a technical activism perspective of the crowd solve puzzle? Because I remember Doki, you actually had to go to the script of the game where you start progressing forward.
Yeah, there was a section of this that I cut out for time, which wisely I did because I'm running out, called Things with ARG Elements. Doki Doki Literature Club, Inscription, they had, right? They have ARG elements that are totally skippable. And I mean, I think there are people who love Doki Doki Literature Club to death and still have no idea those elements exist in that game. So it's definitely, I wouldn't call it an ARG just because they're separate. But UnFiction, it's definitely UnFiction in that way. Because it doesn't require you to complete that part of it. What was your second question? I'm sorry.
Do you think there's a threshold of like technical acumen you may expect yourself to try to solve?
I will say that, and I'm getting the X, so I know I have to go. So I'll talk to you guys out there if you guys have any last questions. There's a code in Phobos that I'm aware exists that is meant to not be solved. And it's like, it's meant to be too hard. But if someone can do it, it's there. Oftentimes with ARGs, it is not meant for a single human being to solve it, it's meant for a community to solve it. So if you can't solve it, that's kind of part of it, because it wants you to talk to someone else. I'm sorry I gotta wrap it up there, but I can talk out there in a second. But thank you guys so much for coming. Tomorrow, I'm going to Stay Doomed panel at 9:30, where we're talking about TV shows that lasted one season or less.
9:45.
It's at 9:45. You can show up at 9:30. Thank you guys.